Hello and welcome to the transcription explanation of these designs. They are intended to be engraved onto a pocket watch with the design on the left that says Mighty Father, Little Warrior being on the front of the watch, and then I came the long way around on the back of the watch. So let's go ahead and get to reading these designs. So you'll see above me there is a grid that looks somewhat like this grid here, except with a little bit less details. I'm flipping it upside down. And this grid has rows and columns, and the rows are started by a circle that's a letter stem. And there are four different letter stems. There are deep divots, like this one here. See how this is like a horseshoe or an omega? And that's at the top row. And then there are floating full circles, like this one here, that is inside our word circle fully. And here's another floating circle here. And then in the third row, there are shallow divots. So unlike the deep divots, these shallow divots, they're 50% or less of a circle. So this is a deep divot, this is a shallow divot. And then like floating circles that float inside the word circle, there are also crossing circles, like this thick one here, that crosses our word circle. Here's another crossing circle that crosses this word circle. So those are the four letter stems. So I'll note which of those four letter stems it is as I'm reading through, as well as in the columns, there are dot modifiers or line modifiers. So like here are three dot modifiers. This is a line modifier. In fact, these thick circles here, these thick partial circles, they're line modifiers as well. And line modifiers count where they end on a letter stem. So this thin one here ends here, but then it passes through here. So it counts here, but it doesn't count here. And these thick ones, well, they end twice. They end both here and they end here. So they count twice. So this has 1, 2, 3 lines, and this has 1, 2 lines because these two thick lines end there. And that's how the line modifiers work. And then the dot modifiers, they count at the letter that it's closest to. So if we take a look at like this circle, like, yeah, it's this circle here has these 3 dots close to it, but it's actually fully inside this circle. So these 3 go with this circle, and then these 3 go with this circle. And you can even make a chain of dots. So like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dots in this chain. And those dots, 3 of them go with this deep divot, and then 3 of them go with this shallow divot, because, well, this one's closer there, and this one's closer there. And then these that look kind of like dots, but are open in the middle, are vowels. There are 3 vowel positions. There's outside the word circle, like that A. There's centered, like an E. And then there's internal, like an O. So see how here's the word circle here? I have a little issue here that I noticed that I'm going to fix. There, all better. Okay. Okay, so this one is a vowel that's floating inside our word circle, so in the internal position, so that's an O. And then there are lines. Lines that go inward make the vowel an I, and then lines that go outward, like this one here has a line going out, makes it a U. So let's go ahead and read these designs. So starting here at the bottom, you go counterclockwise, like a time traveler going back in time. So starting at the bottom, this word circle going counterclockwise, we have this floating circle with 3 lines, making it an M, because that row and that column meet up at the M. And then we have an I with a line going inwards, and then a G, deep divot, 1 line, H, deep divot with 2 lines, T, shallow divot, no modifiers, Y, crossing circle, 2 dots. So mighty. And this word here, starting at the bottom, we have a vowel and a consonant together, and when they're together like that, you read the consonant before the vowel. So this has 1, 2, 3 lines on a deep divot, so an F, A, outside the word circle, T, shallow divot, no mods, H, deep divot, 2 lines, 1, 2, that thick line ends twice, E, centered, R, shallow divot, 3 dots. So that's father. And here's a comma. So in our punctuation bits in this outer circle going around everything, we can have periods that are empty in the middle, and then commas that are filled in the middle. So that's father, comma, so mighty father, comma, and then L, 3 dots, floating circle, I line going inwards, and then a shallow divot with no lots of dots is a T, and you can do a double letter by just doubling up that letter stem, so that's a double T, and then an L, E, so that would be little, and then we have 2 lines on the W, the A floating outside the word circle, 2 of the same consonant here again, so that's a double with 3 dots, so R, so W, A, double R, I, line going inwards, O, floating inside, and then another shallow divot with 3 dots, so another R, so there's warrior, period. So mighty, father, comma, little warrior. And then we have this here. And starting at the bottom, going counterclockwise, we have this as our first word. And this is kind of like two separate bits. So like I came the long way around. And we have an I, one vowel on this word circle with the line going inwards. 1, 2, 3, 4 dots on the C, A outside the word circle, M with 3 lines, E, so came, TH crossing, E centered, L, 1, 2, 3 dots, O inside, and then this one crossing here has 1, 2, 3 lines, so it's important that this line ends here on this W instead of all the way up to make 4 lines on that NG. So an NG can be done as one letter, so that's long, NG, L, O, NG. And then starting at the bottom, going counterclockwise, we have 2 lines on the W, A outside the word cycle, and then a Y with 2 dots, so way. Then we have 1, 2, 3 dots on the shallot of it, so R, then O attached to it, the U with the line going outwards, the N with 1 line, and then a D, a deep divot with 3 dots, and then a period at the end of that sentence. So those are your designs. I hope you like them. I'll get them engraved and sent off tomorrow. See ya. Bye.